Jesteśmy dzisiaj w mieście Newwark. Jest to jedno z nielicznych brytyjskich miast, które pamięta o bohaterstwie polskiego żołnierza. Powiem więcej. Miasto Newwark może być przykładem dla wielu innych brytyjskich miejscowości powiązanych z polską historią. Miasto Newwark jest dumne z bycia częścią polskiej historii i okazało to dumę wiele razy. Dzisiejszy film oglądacie dzięki Free Production, a ja nazywam się Karol Peruto i witam na moim mikroblogu. Miasto Newwark od dawna słynie z wielkiej sympatii i szacunku do polskiej historii. Podczas II wojny światowej wokół miasta były rozlokowane bazy brytyjskiego RAF-u, w którym służyli Polacy, głównie z dywizjonów bombowych. Kilkanaście dni temu w Newwark został odsłonięty przepiękny pomnik Ireny Sandler, która uratowała setki żydowskich dzieci z warszawskiego getta. Jednym z najbardziej znanych polskich miejsc w mieście Newwark jest cmentarz, na którym spoczywa wielu polskich pilotów, a także prezydentów na uchodźstwie. Cmentarz Newwark był miejscem spoczynku generała Sikorskiego, który został ekshumowany w 1993 roku i przeniesiony do krypty na Wawelu. O polskim cmentarzu wojennym w mieście Newwark opowie wam Shaun Noble, wielki przyjaciel miejscowej Polonii oraz osoba, która od wielu lat zajmuje się historią spoczywających tu polskich bohaterów.
Hello and welcome to the Commonwealth War Graves at Newark and the Polish War Graves section. I'm Shaun Noble. Newark Cemetery was opened in the middle of the 19th century to take the burials from the local borough. The cemetery contains the graves of many of the First World War dead with the Commonwealth War Graves. This section here of the Second World War graves was built to take the burials of the local military bases, but obviously as the war expanded and the other bomber crews moved into the area, it became the resting place for many of the Polish and Commonwealth and RAF crews. Here still lie the three presidents of the Polish government in exile in front of the Polish cross, which was the last resting place for General Sikorski before his exhumation and return to Poland. first 3 burials to take place at the cemetery were from 3 crew members from a ferry battle of 300 Squadron that, like so many, perished due to a flying accident. The wing of their aircraft detached, and unfortunately the crew had no time to bail out and died in an orchard in Sutton-on-Trent, about 5 miles from this very place. Due to the nature of the cemetery and its location, many crews, the people that died, were not from combat. These 6 crew from a Wellington of 304 Squadron, while returning to RAF Syston after a bombing raid on Rotterdam, were intercepted just over there by a Luftwaffe intruder and was shot down, killing the whole crew. This is an unusual grave because it is the only female to be buried in the cemetery plot. The burials carried on here until 1947, and here we see Anastasia from 300 Squadron. Unfortunately, she was murdered by her husband in July 1946. The largest burial to ever take place in the Newark Cemetery was of the 28 Polish paratroopers that were killed when 2 American C-47 transport aircraft collided over Timwell. Unfortunately, too low, they couldn't bail out, and all 28 were killed, plus 5 of the American crew, the only survivor being American loadmaster that fortunately was at the door and managed to jump out. This was the largest burial in Newark since the English Civil War. After the war, the burials didn't stop here at Newark, and as you can see here, we have 3 burials from 1958. These 2 here were flying with the CIA in Indonesia when unfortunately their aircraft crashed on takeoff. They were then brought back to Newark and lay with their comrades near the Commonwealth War graves. For many years after the war, members of the Polish Air Force Association wishing to be buried with their comrades are buried here against the Elm Avenue wall facing the Commonwealth War Graves plot. Here we have the famous double agent, codenamed Brutus, captured by the Germans but making his way back to England. He then worked for Army Intelligence, spreading false information about the D-Day landings, thereby confusing the German forces and helping the D-Day landings be a success. Right in the centre of the cemetery, next to the Commonwealth War Graves, we have the Walsall Airbridge Memorial. This is a tribute to the airmen of Britain, the Commonwealth and of Poland that died during the supply of Walsall during the uprising. Right next to the Walsall Air Bridge Memorial we have the grave to Jim Orton, who was the instigator for the memorial and also flew on the missions on the Walsall Air Bridge. He's obviously an English airman that dedicated himself to Poland.
Pamięć nie kosztuje wiele wysiłku, a Brytyjczycy i Polacy z miasta Newwark dobrze wiedzą, jak dbać o tą pamięć i o przyjaźń. Przyjaźń, która została zbudowana na największym poświęceniu polskich i brytyjskich pilotów. Dla 303 Production, Karol Kamil Peruta, Miasto Newwark.
Numerous times along here, and I find it very upsetting. I find it upsetting when they're only, the vast majority, they're only in the 20s.
Yes,
They're young people.
most
of them,
yes.
And I think he's getting me a little bit. I do believe he's getting me a bit. And you know, I find it very sad. You know, the sacrifice. No one should ever forget, and I don't suppose anyone ever will. You know, they shouldn't. They should never.